The regular season is over in the NFL. The Lions and the Bears, 425 yesterday. You heard me yesterday. I didn't think the Lions had a chance. I thought the Bears were going to come out with something to prove and that the Bears were going to open up a can of whoop ass on the Lions. Well, I think the opposite happened. The Lions showed some grit yesterday. The Lions showed some resolve. They showed some pride. And they came out and they took it to the Bears for 3 quarters. And I'll tell you what, the score was 19-16, but for 3 quarters, the Lions really moved up and down the field. A couple of mental gaffes, those gaffes that have cost the Lions the playoffs. Let's be honest, some of the play calling issues that they had, time management, whatever, they didn't cost the Lions yesterday because the Bears couldn't take advantage of it. The Bears' defensive weaknesses and maybe Ben Johnson's weaknesses were exposed yesterday by the Lions. And I got to tell you, the Packers, I think, are going to expound on those weaknesses coming up Saturday night in that playoff game at Soldier Field. Green Bay is a 1.5-point underdog in that game. That's it at Soldier Field, 8:15 Eastern time on Saturday night. And I got to tell you, if the Bears can do what the Lions did, the Lions, they threw the ball at will at Chicago, at their defense. And I think Green Bay is going to do the same thing. Detroit, if you think about it, had 5 scores to 2 for the Bears yesterday. And if the Packers do the same, and you know that they'll probably cash in on some of those red zone opportunities, they're going to make Chicago look silly. And I'm here to say, too, Caleb Williams is not yet a generational talent. He's still young, but when he's in the pocket, he can't make the throws. Detroit made Chicago look very, very average yesterday. Detroit's got the talent. They're there. And it's one of those things where the Lions window isn't closed. They've got the talent to make a run in 2026. But now it's up to Brad Holmes to make the necessary upgrades. We're going to talk about this all through the offseason, unfortunately, starting early for the Lions and their fans. But Detroit's got the core talent. They've got the weapons on offense. Laporta will be back. They've got Gibbs. They've got J-Mo. They've got St. Brown. Goff proved yesterday and again through the season, it really wasn't his fault. He threw for 4,500 yards. But they've got some holes that they've got to fix on that offensive line. It's pretty obvious. I like Tate Ratledge on the line. Decker's probably gone. Glasgow's gone. You know, the Skipper's gone. So they've got to do some obvious signing and drafting. I love that tackle out of Miami. I think that should be a number 1 draft concern or a target for the Lions if he's available at 17 in the draft coming up this year. But the Lions window is still there. They've got the talent to do something, but it's closing. And it's funny because it really – this is still unfamiliar territory for Lions fans and people like me that followed the Lions for decades, 30, 40, 50 years like I have. 4 straight years of winning in the past would have been Shangri-La for the Lions. They've gotten a taste of winning this close to the Super Bowl. The talent is there. The expectations for the first time in decades is for the Lions to make a Super Bowl run. Shouldn't be satisfied with it, but we're still kind of in this aura or this era of should we be satisfied? Because Detroit fans have suffered for so many years with horrible teams, horrible runs. But the talent is there. Detroit's going to get that 4th place schedule next year, so they should get some momentum off of that. But they've got the talent. They've proven it. They've got to close games, but it's there. The window is still there. How do we act? Should we be satisfied? I say no. The Lions, they've got a chance next year. I know it's easy to say that now, but I think the Lions window is still there. So we'll keep an eye on that in 2026. But as we talked about earlier, it's going to really come down to who they sign in the offseason. Brad Holmes is on the clock right now. We talked about it earlier. The honeymoon's over for Brad Holmes. He's got to make the necessary changes. And I think they got to go out and get themselves an offensive coordinator. In a perfect world, wouldn't Kevin Stefanski look good generating that offense in Honolulu Blue? I think he's going to be a head coach somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised somebody like the Raiders just throws the pocketbook at him. But Detroit needs an offensive coordinator. And I got to tell you, I, for one, was happy with Calvin Shepard as a defensive coordinator. I don't know if they're going to make a change with him. I don't think they need to, but definitely I think they've got to do something to put the play calling back in somebody's hands. Again, I think Dan Campbell did a pretty good job yesterday. The fourth quarter, a couple of those play calls, that 3rd and 1, where he tried the razzle-dazzle pass to Goff, it could have cost Detroit. They're lucky Chicago isn't that. They just couldn't take advantage of it. I don't know. But I think those are concerns that Lions fans have to deal with, and I think the Lions have to address coming up in the offseason. But the talent is there. They've got that window. They've got that core. They've got to get strengthened again on the line of scrimmage, and it's proven. You want to win a championship, you got to have an offensive line. Look at Seattle. Look at the Rams. Look at the good teams. That's why they're good.